So I think we need to have a little bit of a discussion about some things that you should be storing and put a pretty high priority on them, because whenever things really get bad, it's probably going to be too late to buy those. This whole preparedness thing, no longer is it just some weird survivalist thing, but it's becoming more and more mainstream, which is good. It's good to see people start getting into this and start taking responsibility. So, what are about 5 things that you really do need to be stockpiling right now? By the way, I'm Matt with Bam Ranch. I encourage you to go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. Around this place, we talk about building lives we love living through preparedness based homesteading. So, let's get started.
So before we move forward, let's take a quick pause for capitalism. Today's item of the day is these JLab wireless earbuds. I've got a link in the description and the comments below, but more on that later.
So, the number one thing that I think we need to be stockpiling is fuel. Fuel in the form of propane and gasoline and that kind of stuff. And with that fuel, we use it mainly for 2 things. We use it to provide electricity and some form of heat, so that, it powers a generator, it powers the vehicles, and it also powers heat, such as heaters, and it gives us a way to cook. It doesn't have to be a huge, terrible situation for us to run out of fuel, and just at least make that where it's harder to come by. So it's something we need to go ahead and stockpile now. As far as like gasoline for generators and vehicles, what I generally recommend is once a month go and buy you a 5-gallon gas can. I like the NATO jerry cans. Any gas can will work. And take every one of those and label them 1 through 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, on down the line. And in January, you fill up the number 1 can, February, number 2. And whenever June comes around, you grab the June fuel can, dump it in your vehicle, and go ahead and refill that 5 gallons. It doesn't cost much to do. After you get it going, it's really no extra, because you're just dumping the fuel that you had saved into your vehicle and rotating that out. You do need to stabilize it in some way. The best stuff I've found is PRI-G. I've recommended that in the past, and it really does work good. Propane. If you've got a grill or camp stoves or generator or something like that, my recommendation is, can you go 2 weeks on your propane supply? Whatever that looks like for you, that could be a couple, 3 or 4, 5-gallon propane bottles. If you're running a generator off of propane, you're going to need significantly more than that. Just keep in mind, with all fuels, the larger the container you use to store it with, the cheaper it is to do the storage. It's a ton of money to buy 2,000 gallons worth of 5-gallon gas cans, but to buy a tank is relatively inexpensive. But with that being said, you're not going to be, moving around a 2,000 gallon fuel tank or propane tank or anything else like that. So after that, we need to start looking at food and water, something that is both shelf stable and some form of regenerative food and water supply. I don't care what that is. If you want to have some chickens, if you want to have some rabbits, you want to raise some cattle, I don't care what you do. That gardening, you make up your own mind on how that works for you. And water, be rainwater collection. I've got plenty of roofs here. I need to have gutters on every single one of them. I am seriously lacking on my resupply for water. So figure out a way to resupply your water. And then we go to shelf stable food. Does this mean you have to go and spend $100,000 on MREs? Probably not. And there's a pretty good case against doing that anyway. The biggest one being is they're incredibly exorbitantly expensive, and nobody wants to eat that shit every day. Plain and simple. MREs are terrible if you're living off of them. But what are the foods that you normally eat? The normal everyday foods that you and your family consumes. That's where you start. Get your refrigerator, your perishable stuff. Go ahead and extend that by an extra week if you can. And then your pantry stuff, get that on out to 3 weeks, work up to 3 months, 6 months, and a year. Pick 7 meals that are pretty easily prepared with just heating something up. But with like the spaghetti and meat sauce, you go to Sam's Club or Costco or any place like that and buy the bulk case of spaghetti sauce and the bulk case of noodles. Well, boom, right there. You've got a 12 pack. That's 12 weeks worth of meals figured out from Monday, right? And then for Tuesday's meals, we just do the same thing. Maybe it's uh, canned chicken quesadillas, right? Buy the stuff that takes to do that easy enough, tortillas and um, canned chicken and spices. As long as you got a bulk, 12 pack case of that stuff, you're good for all the way through 12 weeks. You got Monday, Tuesday, work your way through 7 meals program just like that. Long-term storage, most people really aren't at the point where they need to start worrying about that, although it's always a good idea to start building that as soon as you can. Corn, wheat, rice, beans are your staples. Also look at things like salt and non-fat dried milk. Not the instant milk, because that's mostly just air, but non-fat dried milk, there is an incredible amount of recipes that call for using milk to cook with. And not that you're necessarily going to be drinking it, but it's really hard to cook from scratch without milk. Try making some biscuits from scratch or something like that. Anything you're going to use your flour for, almost all of it's going to require milk to be able to make that recipe work. So go ahead and do everything you can. Get up to 3 weeks as fast as you can. Bump that to 3 months, 6 months for your pantry, and then start working on a year, along with your gardening and agriculture type stuff that you need to go ahead and start doing. It's not going to take you long to really get some food set back more than what you think you need. Whatever it says on the back of your survival food dehydrated freeze dried bucket, you need to double those calories that it has in there. I know I'm not going to be working hard all day and get by on the 1200 calories that it says. That's all that I need. So keep that in mind. So this next one that I'm going to give you is going to be a little bit more difficult. It's going to require some work and learning on your end. But that's okay. That's what we're here for, right? So I'm going to tell you, you need to assemble a tool set and the knowledge it takes to be able to deploy those tools in a reasonable manner. When we're talking about basic home repair, building, mechanical repair, that kind of stuff. So have a basic set of builder's tools. Along with that would go your home maintenance tools. Then we want a set of mechanics tools and a set of garden tools. Shovels, hose, rakes, trowels, that sort of thing. With your mechanics tools, we're going to include, like working on car stuff. Yes, sockets and wrenches and screwdrivers and diagnostic test equipment such as multimeters, things like that. Your builder's tools, this is where it's going to, you're going to be able to maintain your home. This is where if you lose a third of the shingles on your roof during the storm, this is what's going to take care of you until you can get that fixed. This is what's going to replace your water heater. And the important thing to remember about that is almost any project you need to get done, if you're doing the work yourself, you can buy professional quality tools. The Harbor Freight stuff will probably work just fine. I've got my own fair share of it. But if I'm replacing my water heater and I don't have a good quality pipe wrench, I can go and buy those tools, professional quality, and still come out ahead. Plus, I get to keep the tools at the end. It's always a good bonus. But think about your electrical system in your house. Learn about it. Learn how to do basic repairs. Your plumbing system, learn about it. Learn to do basic repairs. Auto mechanics, or just any mechanics in general. Don't just consider vehicles and stuff with engines. I lump heating and air conditioning systems into mechanics. Garage door systems that aren't working, that's part of our mechanics toolbox. And the mechanics toolbox, like everything else, includes the mechanics skill set to go with that as well. Get on YouTube. It's easy enough to learn some of this stuff. I'm constantly doing projects of some kind. If there's something y'all want me to do a video on how to take care of this, let me know. I'll do that video. But having tools to accomplish tasks and the knowledge and ability to use those tools. And don't forget, if you've got knowledge and ability to use those tools that you own, you can always make a living somehow or another. All right, number 4, first aid and medical supplies. This is almost every one of these lists mention this stuff, but why does everybody overlook it? We all want to buy the cool tools. We all want to buy the survival food. We're all about storing up gasoline. Why in the hell doesn't anybody have any band-aids and tourniquets? Along with that, just like the tools, we need to have the knowledge and ability to use this stuff as well. So a good trauma kit, that's where I think you should start. The boo-boo kits, we can get by without a boo-boo kit, right? But start out with a trauma kit. I'm not saying you need to ignore your boo-boos. Matt didn't say that. Get a good trauma kit. If I had to recommend somebody to use for this, I would probably say Refuge Medical. They have no clue who I am. They have actually never even heard my name or this channel's name before, but they make good quality stuff. I think it's the best stuff that actual fiat money can buy. So look at your trauma stuff. And then after that, we start looking at boo-boo stuff, band-aids and gauze and stuff like that. If you have something that you just need to get covered up, splints, your Red Cross first aid kit, assemble that. After you get that taken care of, everybody knows it sucks to go through life whenever you got the squirts. So some tummy meds, some headache meds, just some ibuprofen, some stuff for a burn, bites and stings, the symptomatic relief type stuff. It doesn't have to be an end of the world situation for you to realize that something bad happened and you have a headache. It could be a normal day and that can happen. So why would you not go ahead and stockpile some of that stuff? Along with this, I would say probably you need to get some multivitamins or something like that kind of worked into your daily life and your daily routine. So number 4 item, medical and first aid supplies. So number 5, and stick around because I'm going to include a 6th one as a bonus. Those of y'all that have been around my channel are probably already aware of what that's going to be. But number 5 is what I'm going to call home goods. This is stuff like dish soap, window cleaner, paper plates, bleach, tile cleaner. This is the stuff that we need for our daily lives that we just live with normal life. Toilet paper. Do you remember the toilet paper rush? Yeah, that sucked. I don't want to go through that again. Kleenexes, dust wipes, Clorox wipes, all of the stuff that lives underneath your sink. You need to have a healthy supply of that, and it's something you need to track and keep a little bit extra on hand. 3 months of that should get you by for plenty of time. Once you get to 3 months, start picking up on these other areas, get everything up to 3 months, and then we'll start growing it beyond that. Paper plates, plastic silverware, napkins. The reason I bring that stuff up is whenever you don't have a water supply where you just turn the faucet on and this basically unlimited free source of water isn't working anymore, you'll be pretty happy that you've got some throwaway dishes, some paper plates, and things like that. Don't forget the cups as well. Being able to just throw that stuff away, even if the garbage service isn't running, get you a chimney in your backyard. You can get rid of your waste like that just fine. Easy enough to solve that problem. But these are things that you're going to absolutely have to buy. I don't know what you go through. I know what I use. I can't tell you what you and your family use. So you're going to have to put some thought into that yourself. And our bonus item, like I said, those of you that follow me already know what I'm talking about. It's time to start doing some adulting and not be broke. Stack cash. Come at me and tell me that cash won't matter and the debt will go. You're stupid. Nobody listens to you after you say that. Money does matter. The reason I know money matters is because this morning I went to go get some fuel, and the only reason I could get that fuel was because I had the money to do it. This four wheeler that I'm sitting on right here, about 3 months, 6 months after tax time, whenever everybody dumps the down payment for their tax return and picks them up a new four wheeler, you pick these up for bottom dollar because they ran out of money. They didn't have any money. The AR-15, the tools, the having a piece of property, it takes money to buy that stuff. Stack cash and understand that there's going to eventually come a point in time where you're not able to work for money. So investing with stuff, your basic normal, 401k, Roth IRA. Yes, invest in that stuff because it does work. It has worked and it's going to continue to work. Jump on into Bitcoin and alternatives. This isn't the video for the investing stuff, but you need to be investing. How much do you invest? Well, in my honest opinion, if somebody says, Matt, I have $5,000, where do I invest it? I'm going to tell them just put it in the savings account or take it and spend it on a way to make money. If you can take that $5,000, buy a zero turn mower, and then make another $5,000 by the end of the month, it's going to take you a long time in the S&P 500 at a 10% rate of return to be able to, double that money, right? So take your extra capital, pay off some debt, get caught up, put 6 months to a year's worth of money in the bank, and then start tearing into not just traditional investing, but utilizing capital to produce more money. Read The Richest Man in Babylon and read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you want more information on that. All right. Until next time, you guys be safe.
So these wireless earbuds, they're from JLab. I've had these for a little over a year and I use them all day, every day. I just slip them in my ears, listen to a podcast. I like the fact that I can just use one of them. That way I get some situational awareness going on. They do fit inside earmuffs. And that's really awesome, especially if you're out doing yard work or something, you want to protect your hearing from chainsaws and weed eaters and mowers and all of that. But as compared to like the regular Bluetooth ear protection, whenever you take them off, because you're not around a loud noise, you can't hear it. And it's hot outside and you don't want to be wearing those things unless you have to. These actually fit inside of those really well. And I can pull off my ear pro. And I've still, I still got my podcast or whatever going in the background. That's how I keep up with the news and everything else like that. I think these run $20 to $25. They're a really, really good value. They're probably not, iTunes worthy or not iTunes worthy, but, the Apple or the Raycons or the Beats. They're probably not that good of quality, but I have not had any complaints with these. I just plug them in. They've got a little included USB thing. I just plug them in. I take my keys and I loop them around here so that I don't forget to take them to work with me in the morning. Let them charge overnight. I've never had one during 8 to 10 hour day. I've never come across a time where they've gone dead on me. So they last pretty good. And if they were to quit today, like I said, I've had them, I guess it's probably a year and a half. If they were to quit today, I definitely feel like I got my money out of them. So Amazon affiliate link below. I do get a small, it's measured in cents, not dollars, commission if you buy something from my link below. And that's just money that go back to Amazon, and it helps support me no matter what you buy, even if it's not the item that I listed.